Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk about something here. The worst thing that can happen to a people or a group is to have one of those people or group want to so badly be liked by others that they will do anything to demonize, dehumanize, bring down, tear apart the group that they originally belonged to. And so I'm going to talk about this particular person called Chigo Zirim Aliu Emiakai. And so he brought out, he did. So first of all, let me just give you an overview of what it is I'm going to talk about. Onyeka Onwenu, the late singer, may her soul rest in peace. She has been laid to rest in Lagos. And so a lot of permutation, a lot of all sorts of talk have been going on. And some people have tried to make it look as if, oh, because you can't go to the southeast to go and bury her. Come on, people. People should be using their sense. If it's issue of insecurity, you understand. When government is ready to stop any insecurity at an event, everywhere can be secured. And Onyeka Onwenu is such an icon that literally the whole nation can be put on hold to secure whatever it is that is going to be. So even if you say it's like because of insecurity or whatever, those things, there are things that can be done at the moment. They short term this thing anyways to ensure that, and they do that a lot, you understand, in places, government officials, people that are very important people according to what they call them. There are people who can afford private, you know, security, and even those mopol, those whatever, most of them, they're not the ones guarding all of these individuals. So and then people have just been misconstruing it, and then he comes to say this particular guy called Chigo Zirim Aliu Emeakai says late Mrs. Onyeka Onwenu will be buried in Lagos today instead of Southeast. So this was yesterday he wrote this. And he said Onyeka Onwenu is from Obosi, Anambra State. But her burial ceremony will take place in Lagos because of the IPOP terrorist activities going on in the southeast, Igbokwenu. This particular person, it's one of those, I don't know what to even describe him as. That, when somebody wants to be a slave so badly and wants to be accepted so badly, and unfortunately, what they don't realize that they are never accepted. I saw the other day when they were calling out certain things and putting this thing. So it's that kind of a person. They will lick every feet, every behind, swallow every vomit, every whatever, just to be accepted, and they will do anything. And so this is what he comes to say. The thing is that Onyeka, and I love somebody, so somebody has responded to this, and I'm going to read out what the person put out. The thing is that Onyeka Onwenu is married to a Yoruba man, I think from Lagos, if I'm not mistaken. So her children, I think she has two sons, are Yoruba. And yes, and I think there's an Igbo culture that the woman is buried where her husband is or whatever. But some people have said that, oh, she's divorced. But others have said that in the Igbo culture, as long as you're divorced, as long as the bride price is not returned, there's a whole lot of this thing. But one of the things that I know, there are certain tribes in Nigeria that if you marry their women, they tell you when you're coming to even seek their hand that, look, they are giving you this woman for when she's alive. If she's dead, you have to return her back. I think whether Idoma are also one of those who that there's another tribe also, like in the is it around Akwa Ibom Cross River area, they do that. There are some particular tribe, but I don't think Igbos have that, because in the case of, like, I think Idoma, now if I'm not, please, Idoma people, if I'm mistaken, please correct me in the comment section, that there was one, my husband's friend, right? They are from the same state, the same local government, the same town, almost like the same street. When they were doing the burial, they returned the body to her parents, as in they are living in all the same street. They returned it to her parents and family. So they were the ones that buried it in, most of those burials are done in family lands and all of that. They buried it there. So that's how, for them, that's how serious it is. And then, so I don't think Igbos are not like, they are not that this thing. For you to not say it's because of insecurity that she was not taken to the south. The family probably felt it's better for her. This is where we stay. They probably stay in Lagos. There it's easier to go and visit her, this thing, rather than taking it all the way to the village and whatever and however. But this guy paints a whole picture This is what they call fake news or misinformation and all of that. Misinformation is actually worse than fake news. You bring in the right thing, some ingredients, and just mix them together and bring out all sorts of things. And so this Balatic, there's someone on Twitter called at Balatic. He says Southeast governors need to start taking decisive actions to stop the sabotage of the region by mischievous elements. Decisive actions like dragging people to court. I'm not kidding, says Balatic. He said, I give you an example. Late Onyeka Onwenu was buried in Lagos because the tradition is to bury a married woman in her husband's place. But this overbleached rascal, according to this particular person, uses the opportunity to demarket the Southeast anyways. The purpose of his post is clearly to paint the region as insecure with a view to driving investors away and further impoverish the region. This should not be taken lightly. There should be a limit to propaganda, he says. And then Balati continues to mention, say, I didn't mention Ohaneze because they literally don't know the purpose of their existence. The governors, on the other hand, have the duty to make the region safe and attract investment to the region. So they should fight to stand still anyone making this duty difficult for them. I hold the rise to the responsibility. That's what this particular person has put out here. But hey, it is what it is. There are a lot of propaganda that will continue to go on, especially in this era of APC, and of course, most especially, of course, Tinubu, who they call master strategist, but I think it's more of master of propaganda, because basically what he does is to continue, to use propaganda. And they use propaganda for campaigns before the election. But one of the things that people really don't understand is that propaganda can never be used for governance. You can never use propaganda to achieve governance and think you're going to do anything reasonable with it. So most importantly is the fact that people need to understand and watch out that these things are happening. Don't allow yourself to be carried away. Check everything, every news you have out there. Look, if you're watching my video, don't even believe me. Have in the back of your mind that, what if this woman is lying to me? What if it does? So that's the way you keep your mind and be open. Don't just say, oh, this person said it and that it must be true. Because sometimes people fall into this trap without knowing of people misinforming them and pushing dangerous narratives out there. At the end of the day, I would just say that Onyeka Onwenu was such an icon that we all grew up watching her, listening to her, hearing her, watching her act, watching her sing, and also part of the things I didn't know about her when she was much younger, I was fighting for good governance. It was few years ago that I got to see some of the articles that she wrote. She did television interviews and sort of like a documentary she did on the state of governance in Nigeria at that time. I mean, these fights have been going on. A lot of people have put in their fight. At the end of the day, they just, sometimes we look at them and think, oh, they're not interested again, but they put in their own fight. And what we must do is that to also put in our own fight and ensure that we put in that fight for good governance to the end, and we get it that good governance and don't go away. And we must focus on politics, because the generations before us, one of the things that they missed out was that they didn't take politics to be as seriously as it should be taken, and we shouldn't make that mistake. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.